Chunks of ice flow and float around us in mad shapes, made by light and time and water. A big one floats right past us, like a dinosaur, like a spaceship. I always thought nature made a kind of sense. Like, its rules were... Like its rules were human-sized. I get what a dog is, and how a tree works. But the shapes in this iceberg... The grooves and gaps and sluices... It's a sculpture that no person has ever touched. And it's disintegrating and melting and will disappear and will maybe reform into new shapes, and the rules of these new shapes are ancient and I will never understand them. Never did listen enough in geography, did I, Dad? Frida points things out to us as we go. There are real-life reindeer along the shore. I look through her binoculars at birds with Harry Potter names. Red-throated divers, northern fulmars, ptarmigans and eders, gullnuts and buntings, purple sandpipers and ivory gulls, and a barnacle goose, because they can't all be poetic. We arrive at the camp and jump off onto the snowy shore. The ranger meets us, a big guy with a rifle slung over his shoulder. Tells us that we can't leave camp unless we have a gun with us. There are people standing guard to raise alarm in case they see a bear. Frida and I begin to set up the tent. Just like Dad and I used to. Except hers is the real deal. Not an ancient one with broken zips. I have to take off my gloves to tie the tent strings. And my hands go numb from the cold. Frida sets up a little stove and make cups of coffee for us. I wince as the feeling comes back into my fingers. The coffee is strong and hot and sweet, and she's brought biscuits to dunk. We sit in silence, but a nice silence. Frida unpacks her canvas and begins to paint. It's dusk now, but the sun won't set. It sort of just dips below the horizon, and everything is a deep blue and orange, and it's like the clouds are on fire. Behind me is a little row of tents and then a mountain. This is the nicest time to come, Frida says. You really see the cycle. The animals returning, the birds laying their eggs. You really see the cycles. The land sheds the ice. The melting happens earlier and earlier each year. Places melting completely that never used to melt before. I watch the sun on the water. Watch the birds fly back to the cliffs. And I plant my feet firmly on the ground.